Welcome to In the Lounge with Dre and V. I am your co-host, Queen V, and I have with me the tall, not so much.
Yes, I am.
The tame, not
Yes,
so
I
much. Dude, they call Dre. What up, Dre?
Queen V, what's a good word? What's going on? How you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very excited today to talk about a topic that's very dear to my heart. We're going to talk about African Americans and mental health. And we're going to touch upon a couple of different things. I don't want to get specific about certain things. But mainly, I'm going to talk to you Negroes about how you always say, you crazy. You ain't crazy. You don't need counseling because you ain't crazy. We're going to straighten up that myth today. All right? Queen V, you ready?
I am. We got a few people in the lounge. You want to introduce them?
Okay. I forgot.
How you
right,
forget? How the hell you forget?
I'm gonna turn my volume down because this Negro gonna stop us here. What microphone are you on?
Whatever. Trying to understand how you forgot.
What?
They sitting right here. How you forget?
All right, so I got two guests in the building today. I got one that's been here before. Y'all know her as B.
Hey.
Forgot. Well, she got the same way. So B, she was on episode. Do you remember what episode you were on, B? No.
Like, it was something about thugs. It was 30 something.
Every woman needs a little thug in her man.
Whoop whoop.
That's what it is, and I totally agree. Your punk ass gonna try. Never mind. I don't want to get into that. And I got my man Darius here. This is his first time. Y'all just clap it up and give him a hand. D, what's going on, man? How you?
Everything going good. What's going on with you?
Oh man, he got that good voice. No homo, man, but you sound like real good on the mic, man.
I get that a lot.
All right. Can you just repeat after me real quick?
Yeah.
I'll take good care of you. Just do it for me real quick, man. Please, just real quick. No homo, but I just want to hear you say it.
Don't do it.
Do it, man.
Don't do
Do
it.
it.
Don't do it.
All right,
People be
do it.
listening. Yo,
It's 2 against 1.
people be listening in China. I don't know. I don't know how I get these downloads, but you might want to say something, man. Get yourself discovered.
Well, the past life, I used to, do the little phone thing.
I'm done.
1-800.
I'm done, man. I'm done. Yo, we're about to get into the show, but first, y'all know what it is. We got to do Queen V's word on the street. Queen V, take it away.
It's the queen, y'all. It's the queen, y'all.
Place your ear to your speaker and get ready for Queen V's word on the street.
It's the queen, y'all. It's the queen, y'all.
So, word on the street is, did y'all hear about this woman? It's a white woman. I don't remember what state they were in, but this guy was outside at a public park barbecuing. And the woman decides to call the cops on the dude, black guy, because he was barbecuing in a public park. I just need to talk about this for a minute because I'm trying to understand why this keeps happening.
So, is that why when I go on Facebook, I see the white lady with the phone?
Yes,
So
and that's her.
All right.
That's her.
Oh, that
is really her.
Okay.
Because
all right.
there's another white woman that came by and started recording her.
Okay.
And so when the cops got there, she starts crying. Like y'all got to see this video. She is like boo hoo crying.
Why is she crying?
She's saying that she being harassed. Let me get this right. You bothering this man who's minding his own business, but you being harassed?
That's how the world is. That's how the world is.
It just boggles my mind.
Anybody? Here's the thing. Here's the thing with me. Like, I think I don't want to be. I want to be politically correct, but I think some people.
When you start being politically correct,
because I'm getting a little bigger now and more white people are listening.
I can't. Cannot with him.
I can't even explain it. I forgot what the hell I was gonna say.
The white people are listening.
They are. I mean, that's good. I'm look. I want
so you
everybody
need to be
to
politically correct.
No, we don't have to be politically
No, I'm
correct.
just
Because at the
joking.
end of the day, you're not saying anything that's wrong. I mean, let's talk about it, right? Can we talk about this for a minute?
Yeah,
you got
go
the
ahead.
guys in Starbucks. Did y'all hear about the girl at Yale? A black woman, student of Yale, falls asleep in a study hall, and they call the cops on her. What the hell? Like,
well, yeah, that's the. I think that's just.
It's like we're guilty. We're committing a crime for simply being black. Dumb.
Because we're gaining a lot of power, and they know that we are gaining more conscious. So I think that's why they're trying to like, okay, whatever they're doing, let's try to get them any type of way.
Right.
They might feel threatened.
They do.
Because that stuff starts to happen too. When black people move in the neighborhood and they swear that y'all bringing your cousins, your family, and all that other stuff, and they just looking for everything to get you out of there. And if it's a homeowners association, you might be out of there. Because they just build stuff up. It's just another political way of politically correct way of getting people out. It's racism. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But that video, it was sad on one part, but it was hilarious when she started crying. I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" I mean, she was boohoo crying in front of that police officer. She was like,
yeah.
White privilege.
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yep.
Crazy.
I don't know, man.
From the look of the video, it appears she was more mad at the charcoal.
Yes.
I'm not really sure. Was it the charcoal or was the blue rhino
Really?
that she preferred? But she was
Yes.
heated
Yes.
about the briquettes. She was not feeling the briquettes.
She was. She was like,
Kingsford was
"You're
not the
not
way."
supposed to be using charcoal in this park. That is against the law. That is illegal." And the woman was telling her, "No, it's not." And she was
Right.
like, "Yes, it is." And she's on the phone. "I'm a white woman with brown hair, and I have on a blue sweater." And I mean, she was hilarious.
Yeah.
I was like, "This is." I mean, all you can do is laugh.
They probably not gonna let her live that down. I didn't know. I thought the
first
lady.
of all, have you seen the memes? They are never gonna let her live that down.
I thought
those
the lady,
memes are hilarious.
I thought that was just a lady that was imitating. I didn't know that was the lady.
That is her.
Wow.
She is
okay.
not showing her face anywhere.
Wow.
Before we get into this show, can we just give a hand clap for Spike Lee? I need to give that brother a hand clap. So he was recently speaking at a film festival. He was on like a panel. And I don't know if someone asked him a question. I really haven't looked at the video in its entirety. But basically, he started going off about Donald Trump and how, he's not holding anybody accountable that's like a white supremacist or a KKK or whatever. But instead of using Donald Trump's name, he used what I like to call black folks proper noun.
Wait, what? What'd he say?
I said, instead of using Donald Trump's name, he used what I like to call the black folks proper noun.
Mother ever. All right.
Yes. And every time he would say Trump, instead of saying Trump, he would be like, "This motherfucker." I was cracking up.
Is it on YouTube?
It is.
I'm gonna put it on
but
the
it was
show
so
notes.
serious. It was funny because after it was serious, but it was funny because it was like, dang, he's so serious about not using this man's name. But after he was done, folks stood up and clapped for him for 10 minutes. But what he was talking about was very powerful, so you should go check it out. It's on YouTube.
I'll put it on the show notes. That's what I'll
definitely.
do. I'll do that.
But I was like, we got to give him a shout out.
All right. Shout out to Spike
You can tell
Lee.
he was angry because he was like, "Forget the fact that I'm on national TV. Forget the fact that I'm sitting here on this panel.
Shout out to Spike Lee.
I'm going to keep it real."
All right.
All right, I'm done. I'm done. Let's get into it.
So today we're gonna be, y'all know it's Mental Health Month. Last week we talked about Kanye West because he's got some mental health issues. This week we talking about just African Americans in general in terms of mental health. So it just bothers me sometimes when black people say, not all black people, but when some black people say, "I don't need no counselor, I ain't crazy." So I want to talk about that.
Okay.
And I want to talk about, some other things. But y'all know what I got, right? I got a list.
Oh, we know you got a list.
I got a list. And I got some questions that I want to ask all of y'all, okay? So, why do you think they say that? Like, why do you think some black people, I'm not going to say all, but why they like, I don't need no counselor, I ain't crazy. What is this? Lack of knowledge?
I think it's partly lack of knowledge. I also think that it's somewhat embarrassing. especially in the black community, to admit any weakness.
Yes.
You know,
Agreed.
we have to be strong 24/7, even when we're weak. So to admit something that has a negative connotation to it is very difficult, especially for the male ego.
So you think it's just you think it's more males, black African American males, than just African Americans in general, like women and.
You know what? Just my humble opinion. No research. I do
Okay.
think that men tend to avoid going to the doctor more than women.
That's true. That's true.
What you guys think? How about you, Bridget?
I agree because I think more women are more likely to go to counseling.
Okay.
Or seek any
Seek any
professional
type.
help.
To seek any type of professional help. The African Americans, we so caught up in, you got to go to church for your answers, not go to a doctor.
Good one. Good
But
point.
then it's like you go to a preacher to get counseling just as you would go to a doctor to
Right.
get help. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's kind of backwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the way.
I
I
agree.
want to make one more point.
Go ahead, brother.
Talking about the negative connotation with mental illness. Let's say the Kanye West thing that's going on right now, or Charlie Sheen's mental breakdown.
Uh-huh.
What did social media do to those people? Did they reach out to help them, or did they victimize them? So it's not just a person.
It was a story.
Right.
Yep.
It's also how other people react to them.
Yeah.
And African Americans are not supportive when people are weak or people decide to change how they feel or have different approaches to things. I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. There was no support. I mean, there's people that felt sorry for him and all that, but it wasn't really no like support. Like, let's help Kanye. He fucking crazy. That's
Yeah.
what they.
If someone have a mental breakdown in the community at a Walmart or a 7-Eleven, people may just take out their cell phones.
Call
and start to
911
record it.
now.
Why are you screaming?
I
Ray?
think they just might I think they might just take out a
Quick,
cell
call
phone.
911 now.
I
I'm
think
not
they might
lying.
just take out a cell phone and record it just to make a joke,
Yeah, they
just
will.
to make another meme.
Yep.
So people with mental illness are being victimized
I
Yeah.
agree.
directly and indirectly.
So here's the thing. You know what? I'm gonna go to my list. That's what I'm gonna do. Let me just see something. You give me a second right now. All right, I'm gonna give you one of the top 10 reasons why African Americans say no to counseling. Okay, and some of them y'all hit on already, but I'm gonna go over it anyway. Receiving counseling is a sign of weakness. We can all agree, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And you said that, D, already. People who go to counseling, they think people going to think they're crazy. I've seen that before.
But that's not true.
Right.
Sometimes you just really got to talk about your emotions.
I agree. But like in the field that we're in, we've seen, okay, here's the thing. I get a lot, I got a lot of free time at my job. Okay. Not a lot of free time, but I get a little free time. And I've seen,
Must
you
be
can
nice.
laugh. You can laugh, me. Go ahead, laugh. I get a lot of free time at my job.
Look, you
So
better
look.
watch you listening.
I don't give- look, the kids, I do my observation. I ain't gonna get into that. Look, I get a lot of free time at my job, okay? I get a lot of free time. So sometimes like I'll talk to parents that are who kids are not in the program. And they'll be like, and this is kids. I don't want to get into kids because that's next week, but kids on medication, that's next week's episode. But look, they'll say, like, I don't want my kid labeled. I don't want people to think my kid is crazy. But then you have some parents who
Absolutely.
be like, that motherfucker crazy, and I need him to get some services so I can get that check.
Some of them use that to their advantage.
Damn
they
right
want
they
to
do.
check.
Yes, they do.
I
Yes,
have
they do.
met some people that be like, you know what? I need a check.
Yep.
And they acting crazy, so I'm going to put something on them.
Yep.
And it's just like, you know that you about to hurt your child for the rest of their life.
Absolutely.
Right.
Some
Yep.
kids or, just some adults, they really are mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can understand
Yep.
that.
Yep.
It's just you got to go to the right doctor to get
Yeah.
help.
And another reason is that everybody will talk about them. Now, you know how that is in the hood. Yeah. Jeannie's son, that little get counseling. He a little off. You know what I'm saying? And this is the adults too. Like,
Absolutely.
they'll think, you're crazy. And then sometimes when the people think you're crazy, fear kicks in. Like you're going to do something to him. He might flip out on me. He might just go crazy and go insane.
And the thing is, though, mental health is not as extreme as everyone thinks. Like your mental health, everyone sometimes has a tad bit of some mental illness or a moment where your sanity is questionable. That doesn't mean that your mental health is so unstable that you're going to hurt someone.
Right.
You know, we all go through something. We all have our moments, you know?
Yeah. I honestly, man, I'm going to tell you something. I think everybody, for one, I think everybody needs counseling once in a while.
Absolutely.
Nothing can,
At least
nothing,
one.
Yeah, nothing has to be wrong with you. It really doesn't. And two, technically, like, counseling can be anything. Counseling can be just talking to you, you know, yo, talk to my boy or whatever. Where the professional part comes in is that, you know, some of these people that you talk to, these counselors, they've seen it before and they know exactly what to do, what to tell you, what to say, because they have that experience. You come to me talking about you lost, you know, you lost a relative, a brother. I can roll with you on that. I lost 2 brothers. I can roll with you on that. I know how you feel. But if you come to me talking about some other stuff that I don't know, I'm like, man, like, all I can do is be like, yeah, I'm sorry, you know, well, try this, try that. I don't know how you feel. So I think it's good to talk to a professional counselor. I think we all need it sometime. And like I said, it don't have to be nothing wrong. You just, you know, just want to talk about certain things. Like I seriously need to do it. You know, just to talk. Like, I feel I'm all right. Ain't nothing wrong with me. You know, it's all good. Everything's good in the hood. But, you know, just talking to somebody, they might get something out of you to make you better. Like, even like with, you know, careers, you know, just relationships, just motivation. You know what I'm saying? Counselors can kind of motivate you in a way. So I think everybody needs a little counseling.
Exactly. I believe everybody needs some form of counseling.
Yeah.
3 million people deal with depression each year in the United States.
Right.
And that's one of the major things that we got to be aware of as friends and family members.
Yep.
And just lead them in the right direction if we don't know how to help them.
Right.
The worst thing we can do is just deny them our attention,
Right.
or to undermine how they feel.
Right. Yep.
So, you know.
So, and I think one of the other reasons I have on here is that a lot of African Americans, and this research, I'll give you the source too by the end of this episode, but this is stuff I'm not making up. There's sources for this. These same people say that African Americans don't get counseling because they can't afford it. But that's another, to me, that's, you know.
That's more of a myth. I don't think that a lot of them realize that your health insurance
They
Right.
cover it.
covers it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that that's one of those myths that somebody just needs to let them know. No, you can't afford this. If you have health insurance, you can afford
Right. And I think like
counseling.
and a lot of them are saying, like, you know, especially African Americans that are in poverty, they're the main ones that saying they can't afford it. But if you get any type of Medicaid or any type of assistance, trust me, you're gonna get the best counselors that money can buy, because
With transportation.
Yes, absolutely, because they get transportation now to kids that we have.
Right.
And another thing is counseling. There's a lot of free counseling. I went to Dunkin' Donuts on a Wednesday. There's a preacher in there that comes in there just to talk about anything. Anybody want to talk about anything? Sports, their life, anything. He's there every Wednesday. Got a sign up there that says open to talk or something like that. You'll find somebody to talk to. Like, they don't have, I mean, I guess they don't have to be like, have the letters behind their name, man. But, you know, the counseling, it's a lot of free counseling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of free
Absolutely.
counseling out there.
We
so-
counsel too.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think one of the problems too with our community is that, you know, we experience a lot of loss, and we never deal with that. We just keep
Right.
moving.
Yep.
And, you know, that to me is sometimes what causes depression
Yep.
and other types of, you know, mental breakdowns, because we never deal with all the things that are going on.
Yep.
Like Darius said earlier, you know, it's like we're so used to having to be so strong that we never take the time to just,
That's true.
you know,
'Cause I
get some help.
I agree with you 100%. You know why? Because I know a lot of people who just hold it in. I'm all right. Yo, you good, man? You good? No, I'm all right. And all of a sudden, they doing the Florida Evans. JJ, go in there and get the Michael, go in there. Next thing you know, she by herself. Damn. Drops the thing. And it's just, this ain't meant to be funny. I'm not being funny on this, but I'm serious. Like, a lot of people, especially African American men, like, you got to be tough. There's that myth, you can't cry.
Absolutely. We
And
can't
that's-
take a day off of work. Some of
Yeah,
us work
man.
these
Mhm.
hard jobs, especially
Yeah.
in this area at the shipyard or
Yeah, and
these warehouses, and we working 25 years, 50 hours a week, and we don't know how to take a break and love on ourselves.
That's true.
Just have some me time to try to refocus and regain that mental strength.
Yeah.
But I don't
And
think
sometimes it
nobody.
leads to physical illness. So
Yeah.
not only is mental health important as far as your mentality and your brain function, but your physical well-being.
Absolutely. Yep.
I totally agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was you saying, B?
I don't think as far as with the black men,
Mm-hmm.
nobody's able to teach them because they have to, it's not a lot of men in the household anymore to really teach them, hey,
That's true.
take some time off to yourself, go play some basketball, or hey, come talk to me real quick about what's going on in school. So they don't really know how to do that. Or it's just like people teach them, you can't cry. So it's like they got to hold everything
Really
in.
good,
And
really
then
good point.
it's just, and that's overbearing. And then it's just
Yeah,
like when the
yeah.
man break down, it's just like nobody don't know how to pick him back up and build him back up into
Yeah.
what he need to be.
Yep. That's
So
true.
I have 2 questions. How do we recognize depression or any other type of mental illness
Glad
in
you
our
asked
family
me.
members? And my second question is, how do we find solutions?
All right. So I answered the first one for y'all. Okay. I got a few symptoms here. Poor appetite or eating too much, trouble sleeping or too much sleeping, nervousness and worrying, loss of interest, withdrawal from usual activities. You have feelings of sadness that don't go away, irritability or restlessness, lack of energy, feelings of sadness and worthlessness or guilt. I might be depressed. That's how I feel when I go to work sometimes. Inability to think.
The job he don't work that
Because
hard
I get a
at.
lot of
right.
free time at my job, so I think a lot. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of free time at my job, so I think a lot.
So stupid.
Inability to think or concentrate. That's me. Repeat thoughts of death or suicide. Chronic pain or physical problems that don't respond to treatment. That's a good one. Increased risk-taking behavior, including reckless driving or substance abuse. So, and here's the thing. Sometimes, like some of that stuff, you have that, but you're not depressed. Because there's a few things on here, like, for me, inability to think or concentrate. Because I get a lot of free time. So I think a lot, you know. I don't think about the work, but I just be thinking, I'll be all out there, man.
Yeah.
Because, I have my job, I get a lot of free time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
See it? And so, but those are the symptoms. Solutions. I think the solutions is just not assuming that they'll be all right. You'll be all right. And that's another thing. I asked, what was it? No, I didn't ask. I told a parent, I was like, he might be a little depressed because, he's not participating. And at one point he was fine before the death of your sister. I think it was a lady's sister. Oh, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. That's what she said. Like,
And that's how we operate. And
yeah,
depression is
exactly.
real. Depression is real. I mean, we joke about it. We call people, "Oh, you crazy," but craziness. I have a friend whose father had a mental illness. He was bipolar and he had something else, schizophrenic. And he passed away. She's very what's the word I'm looking for? She feels some kind of way when someone says, "Oh, girl, you crazy." Because crazy for her, mental illness for her is real. She works in the same field as you guys do because of her father. When I met her and she told me that, I've started to make sure that I'm aware of me using that word so loosely, because I think that that's part of the reason why sometimes we feel like we can't go and get the help we need. You're depressed to the point where you probably need to be medicated, but you don't want to take the medication because you don't want nobody to think you crazy.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly. First, we got to know what it is to be depressed. There's a big difference between dealing with depression and being clinically diagnosed with
Right.
depression or
Yeah.
major depression.
Right.
Someone who's clinically diagnosed with depression or major depression, their behavior is going to be a lot different. Their outlook on life is going to be a lot different.
Right. Yep.
For the normal, I don't want to use that word, but for the average person who's not severely dealing with depression, they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And sometimes us as friends and family members, we can help them see that light.
Right. Right.
And that's just our job to do. And just to be empathetic, that's the first thing we have to do. We have to be empathetic towards how they feel and then learn what they're going through. Depression in a child is going to look a lot different from depression in a grown person.
Yep.
Right.
Or, so just be very empathetic, learn, and then try to intervene,
Yep. And that's a good solution,
Teach.
man. Yep. Yep.
just help them execute their plan.
Especially
Somebody brought up
teachers.
exercise earlier. I want to touch on that for just 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise is exercise has been proven to be just as effective as medication. And it's something you want to do on a daily basis. It's not something that you want to do when you're depressed or when you're dealing with troubles in your life. You want to have a routine. And when you're dealing with depression, you want to stick to whatever routine you have. If that's waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, taking a shower, getting the kids ready for school, and then doing this, that, and the third, stick with your routine. Make sure you get enough sleep.
Right.
Make sure you eat enough food and all that good stuff. And, it will work itself out. If it doesn't, after a certain amount of time, seek professional help.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So, like, I had major surgery a couple months ago. Prior to that, he'll tell you I was up at 4:30 at the gym every morning because it's something I had to do for my mental health. I had to get to the gym. It wasn't working out so that I could be slim and trim. It was working out so that my mental health was good. It made me feel better. It made me look at life in a more positive way. And starting my day off like that, my rest of my day was going to be gravy, So, and since my surgery, I haven't really been able to get back into it like I want to. And I can tell the difference. I get up and I'm just like, I'm waking up at 6 o'clock, like, normally I'm like bouncing out the bed, Yeah. So I totally agree with what he's saying, exercise, like, my friends will tell you, don't call me after 10. I am asleep. I don't play. He a night owl. He be coming up at 9:45. You want to watch a movie? The hell no. I got to go to bed at 10 o'clock so I can get up and go to the gym so I can be mentally healthy. I had a just being a little transparent, I had a stomach ulcer, and I have endometriosis. So I was thinking, okay, well, maybe it's just from all the ibuprofen I take. And so they run some tests to figure out what caused the ulcer. And it was stress. And here I am thinking I'm good, but I internally I'm falling apart. But on the outside, I look like I'm good. But that's because I'm taking everything that life is throwing at me. And I'm just like, oh, it's okay. No, it's no worries. Don't worry. It's all right. And so after that, I had to really reevaluate my life and seek some counseling and find out what it is. Why do I feel like I have to hold on to all this stuff and allow it to affect me to the point where I have an ulcer? And, other things were happening to me. My stomach would just literally, it would look like I was pregnant. I could put my arm on it.
Yeah, I taught my clients about how, with stress and just mental illness, if you don't deal with it, you can become sick.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
It affects the gut.
It does.
It does.
Stress affects the gut and the brain
Mm-hmm.
and the heart.
And one thing, worrying is just the same thing, because I remember one time I thought in college, something was wrong. Like, my brother passed away and, I just thought that something was wrong with me because, some of the symptoms were the same. And I must have worried for, I don't even know if you know this, Queen B, but I must have worried for a long time until I found out that I was okay. Then all of that other stuff went away. As soon as I figured out, oh, okay, I'm okay, all that stuff was just non-existent. You know what I'm saying? So the stress will make your body go through some stuff. The stress, it affects your body a lot. Just worrying, everything, job, stress, everything. It just affects your body.
So what's some ways you like to relieve stress?
I would say exercise, but to be transparent, I don't exercise. I need to.
That was funny.
But you know what? Yeah, I didn't say exercise, but you know what? Just doing all of this stuff here, podcast stuff. I'm a tech guy, man. I'm tech savvy. Like technology, all that.
Okay, doing something that makes you happy.
Yeah,
being around fun people.
Absolutely.
That's another good way to get over a downtime.
Absolutely. Yep. And another thing, like I have here, and I just happen to see it, is just I think a lot of African Americans just have a lack of trust.
I wanted to say that too.
You're going to call Child Protective Services if I tell you I'm crazy. You're going to think I ain't capable of taking care of my kids. So why the hell should I tell you what I'm really feeling so you can go report it or whatever? You know what I'm saying?
I do believe that social workers or people in this field, they are looked at as like the cops' sidekick almost. Like
sell out,
knocking on the door, sell out. You almost a cop to the community, but you're not quite because you are a mandated reporter. You do, you don't support certain things. You endorse positivity.
And I saw that too. I saw that even when I was like a probation officer. When I go to these houses, man, it was just like to do these inspections and all that stuff. You know, they just think they kind of think like you are like child protective services, even though you're not, because you're gonna call them. That's why. So I'm like, they just, you know, I'm not telling you what's wrong with me, because if I tell you too much, I'll tell you enough, because social services are telling me that I have to meet with you, but I'm not telling you everything I feel, because even if they feeling suicidal, it's just like, oh, okay, so you're gonna take my kids. I'm not trying to have that.
And even beyond kids, I think sometimes it's just the fear of not being in control, of losing your independence. Because if they tell you too much, they might be afraid that, you know, you're gonna have them committed. So sometimes it's more of even of a fear of losing your independence and being in control, or having to take some kind of medication. Sometimes folks, they don't want to have to take medication. It's one thing, you know, for you to feel like, okay, maybe I'm depressed, or, you know, maybe I have this going on. It's another thing to have to take that pill every day and look at that bottle every day.
You can advocate for yourself. Like I always tell people, even like children, advocate for yourself. If you do not want to take a medication, it's other ways around it. Just like how Darius said, you can exercise. Get your child up in the morning, or go get a gym membership. Walk around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's different stuff that you can do instead of medication. So it's just like, that's why some people, they don't do their research.
Right.
Do your research, and then it's just like you can go to people to help you out, you know, ask questions so you can make sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was looking at one of these facts here, and I think this is very interesting. It says, while African Americans are less likely than whites to die from suicide as a teenager, African American teenagers are more likely to attempt suicide than white teenagers. Interesting, right?
Very interesting.
That's deep. So, like, attempting and I mean, that's just deep, man. That's a problem. That's a problem. And I know we're talking about African.
So when you say attempting, you know, it makes me think about that fact, and if they're really trying to die, or if they're just crying out for attention.
I think. Well, I don't have it here, but I think when I did that kind of hit the brain too. They counted, if I remember correctly, they counted attempted suicides as the actual physical harm in which they had a high chance of dying. So if they cut their risk, it would be an attempt of suicide. But if it was something superficial, I don't think they counted that in the stats because it was superficial. Okay. So whatever they counted, it sounded like it was something like serious attempts only. But to me, every attempt is serious. You know, I mean, if they do the superficial stuff and not, you know, today is superficial. Tomorrow he might go a little deeper, or she might go a little deeper. You know, but I think that's interesting about African Americans that you know, they're more likely, well, teenagers anyway, more likely to attempt than white. So that's interesting. Real interesting. So.
And I wonder if it's also because of, you know, just the way some of our families are. You know, we're not allowed to talk about certain things.
Right.
You know,
right.
Whereas, you know, our white counterparts, they're more open in certain, you know, I'm not saying all families are like that, but, you know, for some families, you know, you can't talk about certain things. You know, I'm not your friend, be seen and not heard, you know, that kind of, you know, that's the way a lot of us are raised. So
yeah. And then, like I said, when you finally open up and say something, oh, you're gonna be all right. You'll be all right.
Or they kick you out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or you become a meme.
Yes, or you become a meme. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's deep, man. That's deep. So we're gonna get final thoughts. We're gonna go around. Just give me your final thoughts about African Americans and mental health counseling. We can start with B.
Just do your research. If you need help, get help. It works. Build a rapport with the person that you find interest in, like a therapist or a friend that goes through similar issues that you go through, so they can help you out and exercise.
All right. D.
Okay. Well, the first thing I want you to do is become more in tune with yourself. Be able to recognize your change of behaviors, your change in eating, and all these things. so you can be able to keep track and know when it's time for you to seek help. If you need to seek help, you can look up Elite Services. We located in Newport News, Virginia. We got mental health skill building. We work with adults 18 and up.
And I'll put that information also in the show notes too. So if you don't have a pen and pad to grab right now to remember, I'm going to put it in the show notes so you'll be able to get that information
Absolutely.
in the show notes.
We'll send one of our clinical supervisors to come and do a free assessment, and we'll develop an ISP, and we'll work from there.
All right. Queen V, final thoughts.
I mean, my final thoughts is I think it's great that you're touching on this during Mental Health Month. I think it's something that we should continue to talk about. I think as African Americans, we should start empowering our youth and adult to deal with their health, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, whatever it is. Like, all of our health matters. And it's okay to go and talk to someone. It's okay to do a mental health check every few months, you know?
Right,
You get a physical every year,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
Mind, body, and spirit.
All right. So my final thoughts is pretty much, I think as African Americans, we need to not judge others. Let's not call them crazy. You know, let's just look at it as one of our brothers or one of our sisters needs some help. Because I'm going to tell you one thing. When I'm with kids, like, I don't know you, but I'm going to say you might be the one that robbed my daughter. Or you might be the one you might be the cop that saves her 10 years from now. So I think, even adults too, so I think we all need to let's not prejudge. Let's not judge them. Let's help somebody, even if you don't know them, because some people are looking for that help and they ain't got it. They may not have friends. They may not have family around or something like that. So offer some help. You see somebody who don't look like, they don't look cool, or, you see a decrease in activity and being happy, just ask them what's wrong. Take 5 minutes and be like, yo, let's go to lunch or something. Spend that $7 and buy that person lunch, because that $7 might just save their life. All right. So just keep an open mind, and, you ain't got to be a detective looking for everybody to look sad and all that. But just, if you notice something, just ask them, are they all right? Just keep asking them, just make sure they're all right and check in on them. Okay. And that's my final thoughts for this episode. We will now have Stew Nod of the Week. Okay?
I hope it's a good one.
It is. I'm gonna get into it right now. Okay, y'all know what Stew Nod of the Week is. Stew Nod of the Week is that stupid person that does stupid things all a stupid time. I'm just gonna read this because I'm just blown out of my mind. Okay, all right. Let me move my mic so I can get a good visual of what I'm reading. All right, so here we go. Let me get my mic around. Okay, here we go. So this is in August. This is 1995, but I really like this, so I took it and I just wanted to share it. In August,
you couldn't find no Stew Nod of 2018.
No, but this is real stupid. So that's why I'm going for the stupid stuff.
We ain't got no stupid going on in 2018.
We got a lot
They're
of
gonna be like, this is old.
I don't give a damn. Look, if you think it's old, go find your own.
I'm sorry, we did just talk about not judging. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Stop
you got
judging.
it.
1995, Claude Schmidt burst into a Berlin bank with a pistol, screaming, "Hand over the money! Hand over the money!" When a worker at the bank then asked him if he wanted the money in the bag, the robber said, "Damn right, it's a real gun." Weird, right? You want your money in the bag? Yeah, it's a real gun. All right, the robber was deaf. Okay, he was deaf, and he had just tipped off the bank staff as such. So the people in the bank found out he was deaf. So one of the tellers slid and set off the burglar alarm while he was robbing the bank because he couldn't hear it. All right, and with the bank robber unable to hear, the police easily snuck up and apprehended him. So here it is. Claus, you're a Stew Nod of the Week, you dumb ass. Let me tell you something. Who goes?
Do we even know if Claude is still alive and with us?
Claus.
I'm just saying it's from 1995. How old was Claude back in the day?
Look, here it is. Look. Claus, you're a Stew Nod of the Week. Here's the thing. You go into a bank and you can't hear? If somebody sneaking up and back of your punk ass and hit you over the head with a gun, you won't hear it, B. Like, seriously? Really? Like.
You don't hear this advice right now, neither.
I'm sure you don't. Nobody can read. Exactly. I hope he reads it because you're a student out of the damn week.
That was a good one.
But you know what? You're right. This was 1995, and I haven't heard from him since. So I don't know. But Claude, you are student out of the week. You dumbass, man. You are dumb. And that's my student out of the week, man. So we will now have Queen V's words of
Throwback
wisdom.
Thursday. That's what we gonna say. That's what we gonna chalk it up to. Throwback Thursday.
The next student out of the week, I'll make it 2018. But I thought this was funny. Queen V, give us your words of wisdom so we can be out of here.
So I didn't put anything together. I have no quotes for y'all.
Just go from the head. Take it from the dome, Queen V. You knowledgeable.
I got us today.
You gonna do it, Queen V? You mind?
Go ahead.
You want some humming in the background? You good?
Yeah, go ahead. Set me up. All right, so I want you guys to start to take life more serious. Grab life by the horns. And remember, when you're going through something tough, there's always a victory in the valley.
And there you have it. Darius's words of wisdom. That's going to do it for In the Lounge with Dre and V. D,
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming through.
Thank
B,
you.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming again. I appreciate it. Queen V, you did it again, baby. Come on, say something. Always silent. She don't never say nothing. That's going to do it for In the Lounge with Dre and V. If you want to catch up on old episodes, you can go to weinthelounge.com/episodes and you'll catch up on all the episodes. Show notes are in there. If you want to hit us up with an email, you can do that also. You can just go to the show notes and just leave a comment. It'll come straight to our email. Again, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you, and we are out of here. Peace.